Hey, I just wanted to ask you one question. Do you have joy today? As we look over these last few years, 2020 and 2021, at the start of this year, it's been a lack of joy is what it seems like. Everything with COVID and all the things that have come with that have just really knocked the wind out of our sails and taken, it seems like, taken a lot of people's joy away, or maybe their happiness away. Um, we talked about joy yesterday, and we're looking at John chapter 2, where Jesus has his first public miracle. And in this, it shows how Jesus brings joy to our lives. And we discussed yesterday in the service how there's a difference between joy and happiness. You know, happiness is based on the circumstances around you, and happiness can come and go very, very quickly, but joy is something that can remain even through the rough times that we have, because it comes from Jesus Christ. And the Apostle Paul said it like this. He said, if you have been raised with Christ, then you need to seek the things that are above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things that are above, not on the things of this earth. And so once we remove ourselves from this situation, and because Satan loves to put the blinders on us, he loves for us just to focus on the problems that we're having right now, the circumstances that our nation is in, that our world is in, and he loves to have us focus in on that so that we take our focus off of Christ. And the Apostle Paul said, lift your head up, child, lift your head up, lift your head up to Jesus Christ, and look at the things that are above, and think about those things. One of the things that I think we need to think about is Lamentations chapter 3, verses 22 and 23. It says, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. And so just thinking about that today, that brings joy to our lives, that God's love is steadfast and it never ceases, and his mercies are new every single morning. And that's something that we need God's mercies to be new every single morning. And I hope that you live in the mercy of God today. I hope you live and you think about that, and because you're thinking about that then brings joy to your life. In John chapter 2, we have this time of the wedding at Cana. And on the third day, there was a wedding at Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus also was invited to the wedding with his disciples. When the wine ran out, the mother of Jesus said to him, they have no wine. And Jesus said to her, woman, what does this have to do with me? My hour has not yet come. His mother turned to the servants and said, do whatever he tells you. Now there were 6 stone water jars there for the Jewish rites of purification, each holding 20 or 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, fill up the jars with water, and they filled them up to the brim. And he said to them, now draw some out and take it to the master of the feast. So they did that. When the master of the feast tasted the water now become wine, he didn't know where it came from, though the servants did. The master of the feast called the bridegroom and said to him, everyone serves the good wine first, and when the people have drunk freely, then the poor wine, but you have kept the good wine until now. And then this was the first of Jesus' signs that showed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. This whole miracle is bringing joy to a couple's life. Just imagine the shame that would have been brought on this family, not having enough wine to go through the celebration for this wedding, and it would have started this marriage out on a bad tone. But what's amazing is Mary's persistence and her faithfulness to go to Jesus Christ with the problems that she saw around her. And she persisted in telling him, this is a need, I need you to fix it. And so she just turns to the servants and says, you know, I don't know how he's going to fix it, but I know he will. And sometimes that may be where you are in your life right now, that you have a problem, that you have a need that's come up, and you don't know how God's going to fix it. But I want you, brother or sister, I want you to have faith that God will fix it. I want you to have faith in him, that he will see you through no matter what you're facing and no matter what you're going through, and that he will bring joy to your life, a joy that surpasses all understanding. You see, there's one person there's people in this life that walk through this life, and you wonder, how can they have joy? And one of those people was Miss Sandy Stagg. She was living with pancreatic cancer, and for the longest time, honestly, a lot of us didn't even know she had cancer because she was just so joyful. But I think Sandy focused on the Lamentations verse that I shared with you, and those verses that Paul, like Paul said, of focusing on the things above. And that's what she did in this life. She focused on things above so that she could have a smile ear to ear when she was going through this life, fighting pancreatic cancer. And so I know that you can have joy today. I know you can experience the joy of Christ. And what I love about this account is that he brought the wine, and he brought it abundantly, and he brought it, and it was so, so good. And that's how God's joy is there's an abundance to it. He can come on, keep bringing it in your life, and keep you joyful no matter what's going on around you. Today, I want you to focus on God. I want you to focus on what he's done in your life, and most of all, the forgiveness that he's offered you. And if you haven't received that forgiveness, what are you waiting for? Today's a perfect day for that, to ask him to forgive you and to submit your life to him, walking with him, reading his word. If you aren't reading anywhere, read in John chapter 2 today and read about the account of Jesus's first miracle and the joy that he brought to a very scary situation for a family. I hope you have a great day. Take care.